Many thanks to fellow Extraction Squad, Clash of the servers, Sea of Tools Cloud, Southern RP server, the Struggle Community, the Karma Crew servers, Darts, Friendly DayZ podcast, and the Settlement for making this video possible. DayZ 1.29 has changed the melee weapon meta, how fast we can kill infected, and how quickly we can down players. So I'm going to be ranking the best weapons for killing both players and infected in this update, explain how melee damage multipliers work, and why hitting an infected in the head does not always deal the most amount of damage. According to the latest patch notes that we got for 1.29, the devs increased the melee damage transfer to infected and animals, but I found absolutely no differences compared to the previous patch. The free hitboxes that allow us to do damage to infected are the same as last patch, so aiming for the head is still the much better option to get that kill. While testing this though, I noticed that combining headshots with body shots actually makes you do a lot less damage. So 4 punches to the head kills, 9 punches to the torso or arms kills, but when you combine headshots and torso shots, it takes 10 hits to kill. Yes, it's only 1 extra punch than the torso kill, but it's a huge 6 extra punches compared to the headshot kill. This makes body shots extremely punishing for DayZ players. This makes body shots basically useless, as most players will go for the head anyway, because killing with the head is much faster. So each body shot you hit instead of the head is time that you could have used to actually hit the head of the infected, and exposes you to a counter-attack from the infected too. It's better to take your time and get headshots than it is to accidentally hit the body shot and do nothing at all. This makes weapons with a horizontal melee arc like the baseball bat much worse than I first imagined, as it risks hitting the arms of infected when they're attacking you, and gives accurate weapons that can reliably hit their head a huge advantage over horizontal melee arc weapons. Much worse than this applies to players too, as when a target or an enemy player has their fists up like this, and this is not blocking, this is just holding your arms up, horizontal arc melee weapons hit their arms instead of their head, resulting in 93% less damage to the player, whereas a weapon like an axe can avoid hitting the arms due to it going through the middle and hitting the head. These are vertical arc melee weapons, they're much more accurate, whereas using your fists or using a knuckle duster is the most accurate method. For the know-it-all viewers out there, you might have noticed that the global health damage that players take is exactly the same for the head and the torso when it comes to melee damage, yet you can kill a player in 4 punches less with headshots, which is due, and if you've watched my previous videos, to skull fractures. Basically, when your hidden head health here drops below 3.3, you will instantly die, regardless of the type of damage you received, which also applies to infected, meaning that infected can get skull fractures too, not just players. However, there are differences you need to be aware of, with the first being that players have 33 head health, as you can see here, whereas an infected has 30 head health, so it's easier to cause a skull fracture on an infected. The second difference is that melee weapons do 20% extra damage to infected, even your fist, every type of melee damage 20% extra. The only exception is blunt and crafted melee weapons, which have a different formula shown here. To summarize this, all blunt and crafted melee weapons that are tier 1 or higher will do around 50% more damage to an infected compared to a player, whereas sharp weapons like the knife or the fire axe will do 20% extra. This extra damage on blunt and crafted weapons is exactly 20% of the shock damage stat that they have on them, so this is a simplified formula here, very simple. So the actual damage we do to infected and animals with melee weapons is shown here, buffing blunt and crafted melee weapons significantly versus infected and animals, with this extra damage applying to infected headshots too. Due to these new discoveries, we can now rank the best melee weapons to kill infected with when it comes to headshots, and we can also see which melee weapons are going to be the best at killing players when it comes to headshots too. So against infected, in joint first place, we have the 2 best weapons to kill infected with headshots. It's the field shovel and the ice axe, killing all infected in DayZ in under 1 second, because all infected have the exact same head health. There's no difference in these ranks between the runners, which have 50 global health, and the soldier infected that has 115 global health, and this means that there's an exception when it comes to runner infected. They are easier to kill when you're hitting the torso or the arms versus headshots. There's no real need to headshot these. Most weapons will kill them with torso shots faster, which means headshots are not always the best when it comes to damage. The next best melee weapons to headshot infected with are these 4 melee weapons, which I previously crowned as the kings. They are next. So these 4 are not the best when it comes to headshots. they are the best when it comes to body shots on infected, but because body shots are worse than headshots, you always want to be going for that headshot unless you're going against a runner infected. On top of this, these 5 weapons kill at the exact same speed when it comes to headshots, so all these weapons here are exactly the same. They're all pretty damn good. All the weapons I've mentioned so far have 2 normal attacks to kill infected, so this is using 2 normal attacks with all of these weapons, but the fire axe best kills with a heavy attack as it can one-shot them, but it ranks 12th as the best melee weapon in DayZ versus infected, taking an extra 0.15 seconds longer to kill. Due to the blunt melee weapon buffs this patch, the mace now sits at rank 13 and it's only slightly worse than a fire axe. This means the mace is really good against infected, requiring 1 heavy and 1 normal attack to get the kill. The remaining weapons here are a lot slower. All of these weapons here are not amazing compared to the first ones that I've mentioned, and adding how much slower they are in percentage terms gives you an idea of how much worse they are compared to the ice axe and the field shovel. Against players, these ranks are obviously going to be different. There's different multipliers, there's different formulas used on melee weapons, taking around 20% less damage compared to killing an infected using the fastest methods. So the 4 knives here are the best versus players. When it comes to player headshots, you want to go for a heavy shot and a normal shot, and that will kill a player. That is a very quick kill. Surprisingly, the mace is just in front of the ice axe and the field shovel in this case, but I would say that any of these weapons are going to be really good against players and infected. When it comes to KOing players, it is a lot faster to try and KO players and then kill them afterwards, with all these weapons here outperforming all of the kill player outright methods. So if you want to kill a player, you're going to have to put in more time, but really the shovel versus the 4 best knives, there's not a lot of difference there, so I would say maybe the knives are better compared to the shovel. So here are the final best weapons versus players, and here are the final best weapons versus infected and animals, but this is only when going for headshots, and you should always go for headshots unless you're facing this runner infected. The only significant changes in DayZ 1.29 when it comes to these ranks is that the sledgehammer and mace rank a lot higher when it comes to infected and player ranks, and the nailed bat is the same as a pipe wrench with a much higher bleed chance, so the nailed bat is better, and the nailed bat and barbed bat can get a 1-hit KO with a heavy attack if you hit them in the head, and it is better than a regular bat, the barbed one is. So if you ever get yourself a regular bat, I would recommend trying to upgrade it. Other than that, and the changes that's seen in my 1.29 melee changes video, there has been no other changes. You are up to date on the melee weapon meta in DayZ 1.29. For other changes this patch, you can see these 2 videos that will get you up to date with what's changed this patch. Let me know your take on these results, as the devs may adjust the damage further, given that the sword is pretty damn trash. It doesn't make any sense at all that a knife can kill players 40% faster than a sword can. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.